Well, hello there.
Hi.
Bonnie and Claudia once again with wit and wisdom. And we had a young man write in and say, would you please speak about how to find the right person to marry?
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so important
yes, it is. Oh my
because
goodness. The
honestly,
trajectory of your life
it,
changes with
marriage,
whomever you
yeah,
marry.
exactly. It
Yeah.
will double your influence or ruin it.
Yes, and I love
In
your example of how you find Bruce and how long it took and how many other men were involved.
well, I was a committed Christian, and that makes a
Yes,
big
it
difference.
does. It
And I
does.
knew I had a call in my life,
Yes,
and so I didn't want to make a mistake.
yes.
Yeah, and I was privileged to get to know some really wonderful
And we
leaders.
won't name them.
No, leaders in the body of
But if
Christ,
you
but
want to know, I can tell you.
oh, shut. Anyway, so a couple approaches that I took did not work, where I basically was very, very interested and compatible with the person, but the ministry wasn't compatible, that part. And then the opposite happened too. But
What's the opposite?
the opposite is you could be very attracted to someone's ministry, but not maybe compatible on a human level, So anyway, I just took a break for a whole year, and I said, God, I
A
don't
break from what?
relationships. I'm
Really?
like, I'm just gonna
With men,
serve you.
with men.
Of course,
Yes.
yes, yeah. And so I just took a year off. I don't want to mess up. I don't want to hurt hearts. I don't want to be hurt. So let me just be singly
That's a
devoted to
big
you.
issue right there, hurting hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's heartbreaking. People are valuable and wonderful,
Right.
and so I took a year off, and I remember reading in Esther that she took a year uh, of
To
purification
prepare.
to prepare and all that. So
Wow,
I
I
said,
didn't
okay,
realize that.
yeah. But then I don't remember who told me this, but they said, you just run your race. You run the race that you're running for God. And then you might look over and see somebody else who's running a similar race. And that's one clue. Are you running the same races together? Are you pursuing the Lord on a similar path? So that was one thing I wanted to say to this young man is like, you have a destiny,
Yes.
you have a
Yeah.
calling, and you want a compatible calling, but also you want to be compatible with the person. Yeah?
Well,
And
that's great.
it's true.
Great
So,
information.
yeah.
So that takes care of that young man because
Yeah,
it, from what I heard, it seems like he's already met somebody.
he has. He
Yes.
has, and it
And it
fits.
sounds like it
It
fits
sounds like
greatly.
both. And
Yeah.
so we were talking about taking like the love language tests, taking the motivational gift tests, understanding really the more you can get to know the person ahead of time, the better it is.
But did you do that in your year off?
I learned these things later.
Yeah, right. Well, I
Yeah.
did too. So we did not have that
Those
to go
things.
by.
Tell
There
your
was no
story.
test.
Yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
haven't told how you met
Well,
Bruce.
okay. Well, then, yeah, it's true. I was in a recording studio doing some backup vocals with a friend for a friend's album, and that's where Bruce lived.
I hadn't heard that detail before.
It's true. Yeah,
Wow.
it's true. And so he was in a ministry there, and it was called Gospel Outreach, and they helped us.
And this was in St. Louis,
Actually,
Missouri.
I lived in St. Louis. He lived in Chicago. And so this is where my friend was recording in Chicago. And I said, well, I know a ministry maybe we can stay with because I had met them before. And yeah, so it was during that time of recording and then meeting at night and getting to know him that very specific.
Sorry, there's a big fly.
There's a big fly. Anyway, the Lord made it clear that my year was over, and here He was.
Wow, just like that.
I know, it was great.
That is great.
Yep.
Well, I had a grandmother who raised me pretty much.
Yeah.
And she taught me to pray for the man who would be my husband.
That was
And
smart.
yeah, that was. So I did know to do that much. She also said you never let a man put his hand on your knee. Well, I never understood that quite. And so didn't follow that. But
Yeah.
she just gave me these hints. And she did say, well, I'm not going to even go into that, what happened in her life when she was in Sweden and she had to flee to this country and so forth. But I had in my mind to go to Wheaton College all my life, and I didn't know you had to apply. And I worked in the counseling ministry, not ministry, the counseling department of the school, typing in all the counseling things they had done and so forth, you know. So I wasn't ignorant, but no one ever said you had to apply for college. And I just thought you went in just like high school. So
I love it.
it was too late. And my grandpa even went to Wheaton College, had an appointment with the president of the school and said, here's a signed check. My granddaughter always planned to come here and I'm paying for it. And the president said, because by that time I had applied since
Yes.
I knew you had to.
Right.
And he said, we don't have room. So have her go somewhere else for a quarter. And then there will be room here at Wheaton College. And my grandparents happened
room.
to, no room. They were full,
Yeah.
full of students. I was a residential student.
Yeah.
And so, what was that sign? Amy, our producer. Okay. Thank you, Amy. We have to do this quickly.
Okay, quickly. Good thing you didn't go to Wheaton because.
Yes. I went to North Park College on the north side of Chicago, about an hour away from my home. And there I met Dave. And he had been there a year, and I found out that he had come to look for a wife. So there's nothing wrong with a man looking for a wife.
That's right.
Because the Bible
Who
says that he
finds
who
a wife
finds a wife finds a good thing.
So you might have to search before you find.
Yeah, right. And he had searched every woman on campus, I think.
Yeah.
And then I came along, and it was a little bumpy at first because I had all these other guys too that I was going out with. And they would say, you know, he's just here to put a ring on some girl's finger. So be careful. And anyway, that's what happened eventually.
Yes, and you saw the qualities that you wanted.
And the trajectory of my life changed.
Yes.
Well, I had such intense feelings. I couldn't think about quality.
Oh, okay. She went by emotion.
We just looked at each other and
Oh,
we
my
couldn't speak.
goodness.
He couldn't speak, I couldn't speak. So we didn't get to know each other well, but at first.
So we don't know if we
Anyway.
want to advise that.
No,
but
we
God
don't,
was
but
doing it.
yes,
Yeah,
he
and how
was.
many years of marriage?
It was 58 when he went to heaven.
58, and I'm on 48.
Yeah,
So
look at that.
good advice.
Right.
Yeah. All
So
right.
trust
Prayer.
God.
Prayer.
Trust God, prayer.
And run the
know
race
that.
together.
Yes. And I didn't think about ministry. I didn't know there was such a thing.
God had
Yeah.
you covered.
So I became a farmer and rancher's wife and lived in an 8 by 34-foot trailer on Sagebrush Hill. No trees or grass, just rattlesnakes and coyotes. And I was raised in Chicago. So there
Okay.
you have it. And
There
it
we
worked.
have it. Yep.
Because
God
God
bless you
was
guys.
in it.
Yeah, seek the Lord. Be equally yoked.
Yes.
Don't be yoked with an
it.
unbeliever,
No,
please.
you can't be.
You can't do
You
that.
can't do it because that doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Light and dark.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye.